Okay. Today we're talking about area of regular polygons. And when we talk about a regular polygon, it means all the sides are the same length. Okay? The center of a regular polygon is the center of its circumscribed circle. So we could think of a circle surrounding it. Okay? The radius of a regular polygon is the radius of the circumscribed circle. So it should go to one of the vertices. Okay? The distance from the center to any side of a regular polygon is called the apothem of the polygon. And that's important because it's in the equation that we're going to talk about. A central angle of a regular polygon is an angle whose vertex is the center and whose sides contain two consecutive vertices of the polygon. We drew central angles yesterday, right? You guys kind of get that? Area of an equilateral triangle, we have that equation here. An area of a regular polygon is 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter, or 1/2 the apothem times the number of sides times the length of the side. Okay? All right. We're going to do this first one right here using that equation. I'm going to zoom in. And so we're going to do two that are easier because you're given a certain amount of information, and two that are a little bit harder. Okay? And you just got to pay attention to what you're given for your homework. All right. What kind of shape is this? What is it? Pentagon, right? We're given the apothem is 10. Now the apothem is straight down. That's 10. Okay? Now, in order to find the area of this pentagon right here, we need to go 1/2 the apothem times the number of sides times the length of the side. Okay, let's talk about what we have. We have to find A, N, and S, right, in order to get the area. That's the big A. Okay, so let's write down all the things we have. What's the apothem for this? How many sides does it have? Okay, so what are we missing? Length of the side. All right. So now we're going to find out how to find the length of the side. What I'm going to do first is I am going to draw in this right triangle. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you this. A rule about apothems is they do cut the side in half. So both of these sides right here are now equal. So if we find the bottom of this right triangle that I drew in purple, if we times that by 2, we can find the length of the side. Okay? Now, what would the central angle of a pentagon be? How would we find the central angle? And that's this whole angle right here. How would we find that central angle? We did it yesterday. 360 divided by 5. That gives me 72. But that's the whole orange angle, and I just want this little purple angle right here. So how am I going to find that? Cut it in half. 72 divided by 2 gives me 36. So that angle right there is 36 degrees. Now I'm going to redraw this triangle but bigger. I want to make it clear that we have a right triangle. We know the apothem is 10, and we're trying to find this down here at the bottom. Anyone remember, because you know how to do this, how we would find x? I've got an angle. I've got a side. I'm trying to find another side, and it's a right triangle. Trigonometry. And I'm going to label 10 as my opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. Adjacent, and x is my opposite or hypotenuse. Opposite. And so now I have to remember those fancy words, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, which one uses O and A? Tangent. So I go tan of 36 equals x over 10. So I'm going to put in my calculator 10 tan 36 equals x. Remember, because to get the x by itself, I multiply 10 on both sides. Okay. So now that I've got all this, I'm going to put 10 tan 36 in my calculator, and I get x is approximately, I'm going to round to just 2 decimal points, 7.27. So that's just this right here. I want the whole length. I want to find out what S is. What do I need to do to this? Times it by 2. So I'm going to go 7.27 times 2 gives me 14.54. Okay? So that was just to find S. Now I need to find the whole area. So I'm going to go 1/2, 10 times 5 times 14.54. If you want to leave it as just 14.5, that's fine with me too. But at least 1 decimal point if there is one. 0.5 times 10 times 5 times 14.54 gives me the area equals 363.5 feet squared. Okay, that was a lot, right? Okay. So we can stop right here and we can create what our steps are to get through them. Or we can do one that's slightly different and then create both of those steps. What would you guys like to do? You want to stop and create steps, or you want to wait and try the other way? Steps. Okay. I like steps too. Okay. I'm going to just write this on the side paper, using this as my example. Step 1. Ask yourself, what do you have? Okay? If you have the apothem, number of sides, but don't have the sides, you're going to follow these steps. Okay? So have somebody get the door for Miss Whitley, please. But don't have the number of sides, you're going to follow these steps. Okay? So our second step of this point is find the central angle. Sorry, I'm recording, so I'm going to keep going. Okay? Central angle. And then we're going to put just in step 2 as well. We're going to put divide it in half. Divide by 2. Okay. Step 3, set up right triangle. Step 4, label and choose tan, cosine, or sine. Step 5, solve for x. And I'm going to say, and multiply by 2. Step 6, plug into equation. Okay, so I'd love, after you guys write this down, to give you a choice. Do you want to do a problem just like that using those steps to see if you can follow it? Or do you want to move on and try the other way that I have? Who would like to try it? Anybody want to try it before we move on? A couple people. Anybody just want to move on and try the other way? Okay, we're about split down the middle. So I'm going to have you guys try it just because I really do think that's best. Okay, so I am going to start it, and then I want you to finish it. Okay, so I'm going to start it. You've got your steps written down, right? And I will say them as we go over them. Okay. Remember, we have to do 1/2 the apothem times the number of sides times the length of the sides. We know that the apothem is 8. How many sides are there? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're looking for the length of the side, right? That's what we don't know. Okay? So I'm going to set up the right triangle, and I'm going to let you do the rest. Okay? I'm going to give you just a minute to try it. So what you should be doing right now is finding the central angle and then divide by 2. And I'm going to do it at the same time you guys are doing it, and we'll check our answers. N stands for the number of sides, and S stands for the length of the side. Good. I'll put it in. Okay, has everybody found the central angle and divided it by 2? What'd we get, guys? 22.5. Good. Now set up your trig triangle. Which trig function do you guys going to use? Anybody figure that out yet? Are you going to use sine, cosine, or tangent? Tan, good. I'm just kind of like checking in. I don't want you to do the whole problem wrong. That's why. We ready, guys? Or you need another second to do the octagon? Yeah? Remember, you're going to label the sides of your triangle, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. And remember, for SOHCAHTOA, I'll write that right here at the top. If you have opposite and adjacent, you know you're using tan. Your X should be your opposite and H should be your adjacent. Just one more minute, guys, and I'm going to go over the answer. Ready? Okay. Our answer should be 212.16 feet squared. Want me to go over? Okay. So we took 360 divided by 8. That gave us 45. 45 divided by 2 gave me 22.5, right? So then I set up my triangle. We've got 22.5. The adjacent is H, the opposite of X, so I use tan. So tan of 22.5 equals X over 8.
Why did I get something else?
When you plugged it in?
We've got a
Let me try it. 8.
Yeah,
tan 22 point, you got a what?
No, like for the, when you do 60 divided by 8. And then that.
360 divided by 8 is 45. 45 divided by 2 is 22.5.
Then why did we all get all this?
I don't know because I just put it in my calculator. I'm 100% sure that's right.
Yeah, that seems right, but why did we get
I don't know.
When they hit control enter, it did it twice.
Oh, it divided. You guys can't hit control enter to get a decimal place. You've got to go like 45 divided by 2.0.
Why did the whole
Yep. Okay, which is why I said 22.5 out loud. Okay.
imagine that?
All right. So 8 tan 22.5 gives us 3.31. 2 times 3.31 is 6.63. So 6.63 is the length of our side. So we plug it in. 1/2 8 times 8 times 6.63 gives me 212.16 feet squared. Okay, let's do the other way. We're given a radius. Now a radius means it goes down here. It's our side. Okay? What does that mean? That means we don't have anything for this equation except the number of sides. We know it's 1/2 the apothem times the number of sides times the length of the sides. I don't know what the apothem is. I know the number of sides is 6. I don't know the length of the sides. So I'm missing 2 things. So that's why it's harder when you just have a radius. Okay, I'm going to drop the apothem. I need to find that. I also need to find this length of the side at the bottom and then times it by 2 to get the whole thing. It's still a right triangle. So I'm going to still find my central angle where I go 360 divided by 6 and then I'm going to divide that by 2. It's a hexagon so it has 6 sides.
I was seeing it.
And then we're going to divide that by 2 and we get 30 degrees is my central angle. So I'm going to redraw my triangle. This is 30 degrees. And what do you guys want to find? Do you want to find the apothem or do you want to find the half of the side? The apothem? Sure. This is my adjacent. This is my hypotenuse. And adjacent and hypotenuse means we're going to use which one? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Cosine. So we're going to use cosine of 30 equals the adjacent A over the hypotenuse 7. So I get 7 cosine 30 equals the apothem. And that gives me 6.06 I get. So my apothem is 6.06. Okay, the nice thing about this is we do not have to do trig again if you don't want to. We could do Pythagorean theorem. So we could go 6.06 squared plus x squared equals 7 squared. So I get 49, I'm going to minus 36.7, and then I'm going to square root that answer, and I get x equals 3.5. Now I've got to times that by 2 to get the whole side length, and I'm going to get 7 as my answer.
Wait, can you slide over?
Yeah, sorry. So my side length is 7. Okay, last step. 1/2 the apothem, 6.606, times the number of sides, 6, times the length of the side, 7. And I get that the area of this hexagon is 127.26 centimeters squared. Okay, so all it did when we add a radius is we have to add an extra step where we find one of the sides. Guys, if you don't stop talking, you can leave. Where you find the other side by using Pythagorean theorem. Why don't you try this last one on your own and then check your answer with me? It's easier, this last one, because it's got the side length and the radius. So you only have to find one thing. Okay? So let's drop that apothem. That's what I'm looking for. I know the radius is 4. What's half the side length? If the side length is 4, what's half of it? 2. So there's my right triangle. You got to find the half the central angle, and then you can use trig to find the apothem. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let me look at it. Give me 1 second. Okay, you should be doing this problem right here. Okay, what'd you guys get for the half the central angle? Anybody? 30, good. Then you could have used tan or cosine. Just gonna give you guys 1 more minute, and then I'm gonna go over the answer. Okay. So, we've got 30, because we did 360 divided by 6 divided by 2. The apothem is my adjacent. 2 is my opposite. 4 is my hypotenuse. You only need 2 out of the 3. I chose to do tan. You could have done cosine. You should have gotten the same answer. Tan of 30 equals 2 over x. Multiply both sides by x. Divide by tan of 30. I got x, or the apothem, is 3.46. Then 1/2 3.46 times 6 times 4 is 41.52 feet squared. Questions about any of this?
Why is the apothem
Well, because 30 is right here, right? That has to be next to it. We're given the radius. Radius is always going to be our hypotenuse. Okay? Any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop this. You've got the whole back to get started on. I highly suggest you start on it today in class so you can ask for help so you don't forget how to do all these steps.